Oh, hi, you're already here. Well, let me take this opportunity before we get to today's video on how to turn heads after 2,000 years. The trick is to moisturize. I want to tell you about the Online Jewelry Academy's new comprehensive course. It's posted to udemy.com and it's a great course for beginners. It literally covers everything that you need to know to get started making jewelry. I hope you enjoyed today's video, but be sure to check out the class. Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John R. and I'm your instructor. In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform a single gallery 4-prong setting into a holder for a coin in order to turn it into a fashionable pendant or charm. Now, this is an advanced video, and that means that I'm not going to cover every aspect of the project in great detail. Instead, what I've done is I've built a playlist for you that's on our channel. So if there's any aspect of this project that you don't quite understand, you can pause this video, go to the playlist, watch the previously aired video, and then come back. Okay, let's go through the tools that are required for this project. First, you can see what I've got over here is a complete soldering setup with a ventilation system. We have a video on how to make this. The thing that's new to our soldering setup is this, the Magnesia block. And we have a video on soldering surfaces. The Magnesia block is great because it will reflect heat, but it also will hold and capture pieces while I solder them together. So it's great. I don't have to use third hands or all kinds of contraptions to keep things in the right place. All right, so moving along, I'm also going to be using my jeweler saw, a ring sizer, permanent marker, variety of pliers, a ring clamp, and some specialty pliers. This is a flat-nosed pair of parallel pliers, and this is also a flat-nosed pair of vinyl-lined pliers. Now, if we look a little bit forward, you can see some of the items that I'm going to be detailing in this video. First, I want to show you this. Right here, I have a Canadian penny. Gorgeous. The Canadian penny is surrounded by a ring, and I want you to look a little closely. See, when I touch it, see how the ring is really loose. Now, most coin holders for coin jewelry, they don't squeeze and capture the coin with, the grip of a bezel setting. They're open a little bit, and what holds the coin in place is the prongs that make contact with the coin. All right, so what I'm going to do that is I'm going to build something along these lines. Now, this is a single gallery 4-prong setting, and this particular one was used in a video that our colleague, Professor Jennifer Monroe, did that showed how to set a cabochon stone in that type of setting. Now, in the construction phase of the single gallery, it ends up looking like this at one point, and you can see where the prongs haven't been clipped from the back side. They extend out on both sides, and this is great. This is what makes this usable for our coin jewelry, and this is what I'll be setting into it. It's a drachma from 300 BC that features the image of Alexander the Great on the top side, so I'm very excited to put that into something. All right, let me clear some of the space so that I can get started, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm ready to begin, and with most projects, the first thing that I want to do is I want to put on my eye protection. Now, the best tip that I'm going to give you in this video is this one right here. The way that I'm going to determine the proper size ring to fit around my coin is to use the ring sizer. What you're going to do is try different sizes of rings around your coin, and when you find one where the coin can easily pass through it and it has a little wiggle room, that's the one. So I've already made the ring for the coin. There it is right there. And if you check the playlist, if you don't know how to make a ring, playlist will completely explain everything from proper measurement, cutting, soldering, you name it. All right. The next step that I want to take is I want to mark the ring with a permanent marker. This isn't that critical in this case because this coin doesn't really require anything special. But in the case of the drachma, I had to pay a little bit of extra attention because the positioning of the prongs would make a big difference. I don't want to cover up anything special or important on the surface of the coin, but I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. So if this is the way that I want to look at the coin, I know that I could probably put a prong over here, which would not affect the leaves in the center. I'm just marking it. There we go. And I can probably put another one down here at the base about there. And I can match it on the other side. Don't want to cover the word Canada up. Our good neighbors. And then I'll place another one on the top in a similar position to the other side. They don't have to match exactly if you got a special coin. And then I do want to put a mark right at the top where I want a connection for my bail to go. Okay, so I've now marked the areas for my 4 prongs and for the little loop for my bail. The next thing that I want to do is I want to put this ring into my ring clamp. So I'll remove the wedge, I'll put the ring in the ring clamp, and I'm going to clamp it shut. And then I'm going to sit at my bench pin and I'm going to take the jeweler saw, and I don't want to saw through the ring, but I want to give myself a good guide. So what I'll do is I'll put the ring clamp in the V of the bench pin, find the marking, and then I'm just going to glide my saw blade above that marking and just saw part way into the ring itself. And then I'll just do that for all of them. Now, take your time, be accurate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my round needle file, and using the saw guides that I've just created, I can position the needle file right there, and I'm just going to file a notch. Now, I'm using the end of the file because I don't want to make the notch too large. I want it to cradle a small piece of wire. So there's one. Let me go over here. I'll do this one. Perfect. Okay, so now I've made all of the notches onto the ring and I'm ready to do my soldering. So let me set up my soldering and I'll be right back. I've set up everything that we need to solder the piece together. So let me show you how to set it up on the magnesia block. First, what I want to do is I want to pick up my ring and position it on a flat area of the block so it just lays perfectly flat. Next, I want to position the prongs, and to do that, I'm going to use my flat nose pliers and I'm going to pick up one prong at a time. And I want to have a nice grip on the prong so that I can just find one of the notches, and let's see, is that one? That's one right there. And I'm just going to push straight down about halfway. And what's kind of nice about working on this Lazy Susan is I can just turn it around nice and easy like that, and then I can position another one on the opposite side. Working in opposition like this will help to make sure that the piece doesn't move around too much while you're putting it together on top of the block. Okay, so the prongs are in position. Now what I want to do is I want to take a small jump ring and I'm going to place it on the spot where I've marked the top of the piece. And what I want to do is I want to make the seam of the jump ring hit the larger ring. What will happen is as I solder, the jump ring will close and it will attach to the larger ring. Okay, so what I need to do next is flux for the soldering process. And what we're going to do is we're just going to flux on the inside against these prongs. That's a little bit too much. There we go. And I'll put some there. And some right there. And then I'm going to hit the seam of that jump ring and the edge of the ring itself. And there we are. Next, I'll pick up my hard solder Try to always solder with hard solder. Remember, it's the alloy that's the closest in color to the sterling silver itself. Plus, it gives you a nice connection that will get stronger and stronger as you continue to solder on the piece. So as you can see, I'm positioning the solder on the inside on top of the ring right next to the prong. Now, if you cannot get the solder to sit there, this might be a time where you might want to consider using the paste solder that comes in a syringe with flux already mixed into it. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to put a piece of solder right between the little loop and the larger ring, making sure that they're pushed together. Okay, so everything is set up and ready to go. Next thing I need to do is bring my torch into the situation. And we know, because it's on the Lazy Susan, that I can put the heat onto it very evenly by moving the piece around. But you may need your solder picker handy as well, because things might move with the application of the heat. Okay, I'm turning this on, and here we go. So first, let's just dry things out. Let's just run the tip of the flame over everything to start to evaporate out some of the moisture that's in the flux. That will keep the solder pallions in place a little bit better if we dry things out. Now, once you have things dried out, you can move in a little closer with the flame, and I'm just going to keep going around trying to heat things nice and even so that nothing melts. Sometimes people struggle with wire projects because they just don't know how to apply their heat a little bit slowly and evenly. There we go. We got one to solder. There's two. There's the closing of the ring. 3 and 4. That easy. Okay, it's nice and hot, so let's be careful taking it out. I just want to pull it up. And it's good to be a little careful pulling it out of your magnesia block. If you take your time, you won't destroy the block. There we go. Now, before I would go on to any other aspect of this project, what I would do is I would pickle this, brass brush it, and perhaps even tumble it in order to give it a pre-polish. Now, one other thing that I want to do in terms of soldering is I want to solder a jump ring to the top of it in order to create a bail. You could also substitute with a tension bail or any other type of bail that will permanently hold onto your piece. Let me put this one into the pickle pot, and I'll clear some space and I'll show you the final stages of how you actually set the coin into this type of setting. While the other piece is in the pickle pot pickling, let me show you how you finish up this project. In the case of this piece, I want to put it on this drawn link chain. Now, I have the coin in a certain orientation, and you can see how in this case the prongs are unevenly placed. And that was so that I wouldn't cover any important information on the coin. So I'll double check the orientation once again, making sure that I've got everything positioned correctly. And I do. And I can tell that this is the top that I wanted to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the back first. What I'd like to do is I want to clip these prongs to approximately the same length. They can always be adjusted. And you're just going to use diagonal cutters for this. So I don't need these very long. So I'm just going to give them all a nice quick clip. Okay, so all of the prongs are clipped down. They're very short, but they have a rough end. So I'm going to use a cup burr in the flex shaft. Now what this is this is a burr that has a concave end on it that has cutting edges so that I can just round them off. I've picked a size that will fit over the wire perfectly. And now it's nice and round. So I'll do that on all 4 of them. Okay, so these prongs are now nice and smooth. Next, what I'll do is I'm going to take a pair of pliers and I'm just going to bend the prongs over. In other words, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to just create a flat surface for the coin to sit on. So I'm just bending these over. They have sort of an L shape now. I'll let you see when I'm done. Okay, so you can see here how I've bent them over. Next, I need to position the coin in and see how it sits. And let me get it in the right orientation. So we can see that it's not falling through. Next, I'm going to clip the top prongs and round them off. And then I'm going to give it a final squeeze to set the coin in place. So let me take the coin back out. And now I'll clip the top prongs. Remember, I don't need them very long. Just need them long enough to keep the coin in place. Got some flying wires here. That's why you wear your eye protection. Okay, so the top prongs are clipped. Now let me round them. Okay, so I now have got the top prongs clipped. I'll reposition the coin back in its proper orientation. And what I want to do now is I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to initiate the bend over onto the coin. But I'm going to bend it to it, but not touching it just yet. So this is beginning to look like a piece of jewelry. Okay, now it's kind of in there already, but I want to make sure that I have everything in the right position before I give it the final setting. And let me see here. Let me turn it so I can see it from my perspective. Okay, that's better. All right, so now I'm going to pick up my special vinyl jawed pliers to do the final setting. I'm using these because I can apply pressure on the surface of the coin without scratching it. These are great. They're often sold by beading companies. All right, so I'm going to press on both sides. I'm going to go around the coin. Take your time, especially if you're working with something special to you. You want to get it right. Okay, I'm going to double check. And there it is. It's a coin in a setting. And you can see I've got that bail that looks great. And if I slide the chain through it, the bail blends and matches and has a nice masculine look to it. That's all there is to it. I hope you liked this video. If you do, be sure to like the video, share it with your friends. We've got plenty of more videos on onlinejewelryacademy.com. And if you're not a subscriber yet, click the button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and become a subscriber. We regularly post to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you'd like to support the production of future Online Jewelry Academy videos, you can do so by making a contribution through Patreon. Thanks for watching.